Welcome to the J-Train podcast. This is J-Train, Jared Freid, coming to you live from the quarantine cabin on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. We're here Monday through Friday with your emails, your stories, your questions. I say it every episode. Let me say it again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for listening to the show. That's how it all works. You listen, you tell, you listen, you tell. You tell a friend, a brother, a coworker, a brother, a sister, a mama, a papa. Anyone with ears, we'll take them. And I would love for you to go tag a friend in some of the Instagram posts that I'm putting. I'm doing a lot more Instagram stuff because I'm doing this every day, so I have more stuff to put out. So there's more videos, there's more me ranting, there's more, and listen, every time you tag a friend under one of my rants or one of my charcuterie chats, or you like a post, ooh, it feels good. It's as if I'm walking through a meadow and just little fingers, and I'm naked, of course. I'm always naked in the meadow, and little fingers are just tickling my nuts. That's what it feels like when you tag a friend, tell a friend, let them know. Let them know. Let them know. Very excited about today's guest. A first-timer here on the podcast. I'm very a first-timer, a huge star. This is a get. You're very, a former wrestler. Now you can see her on Instagram right now. Danielle Monet, thank you for coming on.
Hi, I made sure to not chime in early. I didn't want to get in trouble.
You did a great job.
I know the rules. It was hard.
Well, let me tell the listeners, you are a listener of the show.
Yes, I'm a very loyal listener. I love the podcast. I actually slid into Jared's DMs.
Yes, you did.
And I started by feathering his nuts, of course. And
always feathering.
I made sure
that's the best way to get my ear.
And things in life. I encourage everyone to feather everyone's nuts and nuts. Like, it's great. So I started with that. And then I also was like, hey, so listen, I'm not a comedian, but I'm somewhat entertaining, or I'm single and can't catch a man. Maybe I could be on the podcast.
Well,
and wrote me right back.
Well, I saw your message and I was like, it was so nice. It was so like honest and vulnerable, and also like, and then I go and look through your your career, and you've done some amazing things. First of all, you're a former professional wrestler. You wrestled with the WWE.
Yeah.
How long did you do that? How did you get to that? Can you kind of tell your backstory?
Yeah, real quick. My wrestling name was Summer Rae. I was on Total Divas, the show. So a lot of your female followers, a lot of our female fans come from that show.
And Total Divas, I'm sorry to interrupt. Total Divas was like a great reality show in general. Like that got, it was so interesting that show got out of the wrestling world.
Yeah, I mean, usually they don't do that. So that was interesting. It was like the first time they kind of, we call it breaking kayfabe. So you break that kind of like third wall of wrestling. And I was really kind of mean on that show. And Summer Rae's a little mean as well in general on WWE. But I promise, as you can tell from my DMs, I'm definitely not. But
you don't come off that way.
It was my dream. I wrestled for 6 years under the ring name Summer. I went after them. Again, I feathered WWE's nuts to get in there. And I just wanted to be a WWE diva for my whole life. I played professional football before that in the Lingerie Football League. I went to college and I quit my desk job to go do all of these things. So my poor parents that have helped me.
Did you go to like wrestling school? Like I don't know if I've never really said this a lot on the podcast, but like growing up, my family, huge wrestling fans. Like my dad used to get, like, I was like, we were big, growing up, I was big on like the Hulk Hogan era. And
I remember when I first met Hulk Hogan, like I was backstage. That's probably the most I've ever fangirled. I worked at a restaurant in Chicago, Tavern on Rush. So we met a lot of celebrities and stuff before I was in WWE. So I've met Vince Vaughn, I've met Tom Brady, like all these people I've met. When I saw Hulk Hogan walking down the back of like the arena, I was like, oh my gosh, like I didn't know what to say. I got, because me and my dad watched him growing up, like you did.
It's from like, and also when you're, like just like you said, you worked at a restaurant and you had these people frequent there, but they're all around your age. You kind of like found them as an adult. Hulk Hogan was like a cartoon of a human. He was a god.
Even now, when people like haven't grown up watching him, like people see him in public. I can't imagine what it's like being him in public. But yeah, he walked down the hallway and I remember elbowing the guy next to me and being like, oh my gosh, he's coming. I really want a picture. Should I introduce myself? Like, what do I do? And he came straight up to me and the other wrestler and was like, hey guys, I just want to say I love what you've been doing. Summer, and he knew who I was. And that was like,
so he's up on it.
It was so weird and it was so crazy. And like, I think a lot of people in entertainment, we don't take time to stop what we're doing, appreciate our milestones. I'm always moving on, next thing.
Sure,
so
I understand that.
In that moment, I was like, wow, I've kind of done something.
You've made it.
Yeah.
To have him.
It was crazy.
Also, those are like two artists recognizing talent. Like for him to say, like that is like, that's like a legendary comedian saying to me, "Hey, I love your jokes." Like
for
that's
sure.
Absolutely.
It's game recognizing game. Yeah, it was really cool. And his daughter is really sweet. I know Brooke a little bit too. So it was great. It's definitely like a little secret society. I think it's really funny when people ask me like, do you know Tori Wilson or do you know Stacy Keep? Like they ask me these things. I'm like, well, yeah, like there's only 10, 12 girls and 100 dudes. It's like a secret sorority.
Yeah. Well,
there's only like 60 women who have ever done it. So we all kind of know each other.
Well, that is interesting. That's the same with any industry. Yeah. Like, people when you're in it and then people on the outside who maybe are a fan of it. It could be anything. It could be finance. Someone could be like a major trader and someone will be like, that person? Like, yeah, we used to trade together in law school or whatever it is. Like I have that with comedy a lot where it's like, they'll be like, blankety blank. I'll be like, yeah, I remember that guy when he was at an open mic and we were, 4:00 in the afternoon trying, you know what I mean? Like you have I understand that where you're like, well, we work together and it is.
It's always different when you leave. Like we're able to support each other. And like, if we have different ventures coming out, it's like a little kind of group. So that's good. And to answer your question, yeah, we do have wrestling school. I can kill someone if I have her in a suplex over my head and I drop her on her neck. So you have to like know how to do everything.
So did you go, I'm sorry to interrupt. Did you go from like college to wrestling school? How did that start?
So I went to college, got my degree, got a desk job, worked wholesale, bath, kitchen, and lighting. I have great plumber's crack. And I was there for about a year and a half. I was like, this is not for me. I can't have a desk job. So I took control of my life. I moved to Chicago. Had never been, obsessed with Chicago. Amazing comedy town. So moved there and hustled. Worked at Nordstrom, retail, threw my college degree out the window, retail over Christmas. I modeled, I did bottle service. I worked at Tavern on Rush and I just worked a bunch of jobs and it was way more alive than I ever felt working at a desk job. Started getting into football, played for the Lingerie Football League for 3 years. And when I was working at a Comic-Con, Jerry the King Lawler, do you know who that is?
I know the King. Are you kidding?
So I was working as a booth babe in Chicago for Marvel, passing out stuff in like a sexy outfit or something. And this girl came up to me. She was like, "Oh, WWF's here." I was like, first of all, it's WWE. Second of all, where? And I went up there and it was Jerry the King Lawler. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to be a diva and I don't know how to do it because now there's a whole application process in a school and there's like 40 girls in school. When I did it, there's like 5. So it was great. I got a lot of time, but then I got a lot of reps. And I walked up to him and he gave me his email and I ended up buying tickets, driving 4 hours to a show. And I just made it I just feather everyone's nuts.
Well, let me just tell the listeners, if you're not like a wrestling fan, going up to Jerry the King Lawler is like going up to Joe Buck. Like it's like going up to one of the most famous, like you're going up to one of the most famous ring announcers of all time, and then having Joe Buck or having having Andy Cohen be like, here's my email. Like that is a ballsy move. That's great.
For sure. And I think that's just how you have to live. Like I never want to miss any opportunities, and I kept Googling it every night, like how to do it. Nothing was popping up. Now WWE has an amazing school down in Florida called NXT. But I had my tryout. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. When you land on the mat, your body just spasms, your back spasms. As a woman, our necks are smaller, my lats and my traps, everything's just smaller. And I was way skinnier then too. I wasn't lifting or anything. And I remember going home at the first night, well, not home, the hotel the first night, and crying my eyes out because my neck and my back was just hurting. But the next day I went back. So the thing that I do love about wrestling is you can't just be in it if you want to be famous or if you want money or whatever it is, because your body will not freaking hold up to that standard
it's
at all.
Physicality. You have to do it all. You can't just be a ring model. You got to be throwing yourself on the mat.
Yeah, for sure. And you got to go all into it. So it was great. It was my dream. I did it for 6 years. I stopped. I have neck issues. I have thoracic outlet syndrome and a bone spur on a vertebrae in my neck. But I just knew there was other things I could do. So now I kind of am a nomad, and I'm like going freely. Well, not now with Corona. I'm staying in my house. I'm very unemployed. But usually I have my appearances. I have speaking engagements. I've been hosting a little for different, NFL Network or Microsoft in New York. So it's been good. Lots of little things, but I'm very ADD, non-prescribed, and I have to listen to things. So that's how I got into the J Train podcast.
How did you find the J Train podcast? And for those listening, go follow Danielle at Danielle Monet on Instagram. She's working with Herbalife. She's doing a lot of great things on there. Go follow, go support, because, at this point, you have over 1 million followers on Instagram, which is like an insane number. But like a lot of people might be finding you for the first time and getting to know you through this podcast. Like that's a great thing.
That's the best thing too, because I think with the reality show or with wrestling, a lot of people thought they knew me. That's why I like to do the Q&As. And that's why I like your podcast, because when I do Q&As, people ask me all these questions about relationships. Yeah. And I think it's mostly maybe nerdier wrestling fans and guys, I not that anything's wrong with that, and they're asking me because they're like, I'm a woman, how should I approach someone? And I'm like, well, shit, I'm 36 and single and like I haven't found anyone, so like I'm not sure how to do it, but this is my advice. So I feel like I give good advice, I just don't take my own advice.
Well, we're going to give some today. We're going to please send in your emails, jtrainpodcast@gmail.com, jtrainpodcast@gmail.com. So how did you find J-Train? How'd you find this?
To the J-Train podcast before Bachelorette, because don't most people find J-Train through your screens?
I think it's been a number of things. It's been You Up podcast or the live streams or my Instagram, or it started as the Total Frat Move podcast, TFM podcast. So we had a lot of like guys from back then. And it's just, I've been doing it a lot of years. So what brought you to the here? Maybe it was The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, because I watch because my mom and sister watch back home in North Carolina. So I like to watch it with them because then we can all talk about it and something we can talk about. So maybe I saw some of your screaming. I thought it was hilarious. And I sent it to my sister. And we talk about it over like Christmas dinner. We're like, oh my God, you see Jared talk about, what was the guy that was the virgin? And you like put his face on Jesus. Oh my God, we were dying laughing. Oh, it was a Colton
Yeah. And so we were listening to that. And then I just needed podcasts. And I hate when people get in a podcast voice. When they're like,
hello, today on J Train, we shall be discussing the annex of Puerto Rico. It's very...
It's so annoying. And so when I'm cleaning or when I'm on the train, even like in New York, it's like I can't even ride the train without listening to something. Like I just need something.
Sure.
So listening to you, I will be in there, and I'm so sad I'm missing Shelby. Like
Shelby is here in spirit. Shelby, where are you? He speaks to us from the great beyond. Shelby, are you here? Say hi to Danielle.
Like, I love you, but Shelby sets it off. Like, how fast he is with his fingers. Like, wonder why he doesn't have a woman.
Here we go.
But it's like, so his wit, he's so funny. And the dry sense of humor and how he delivers it, it's so sarcastic. I am on the train dying at Shelby.
Shelby's nuts are fully feathered right now. Shelby, tell us how feathered you feel right now. Okay, so
I'm do a photo shoot.
What's that?
Shelby needs to photograph me. That would be.
I think he does. I think that would be a fun. I think the audience is cheering for you and Shelby to get together in any way you guys can.
This is great. So I just find it very interesting that no matter what walk of life people are at, no matter what race, culture, social, economic status, everyone wants relationship questions. Everyone has a problem.
Well, it's the one thing. Every guy, no matter how much money or where they are in life, has said, "Fuck that chick." Yeah. And every girl has said the same thing about a dude. So that piece of shit. So that's kind of what connects us all, is that we can all, commiserate. That's kind of why I love, half the show is reading the emails, and sometimes I get upset. Some people are like, well, sometimes the guests will be like, that was a long email. I'm like, yeah, but that's part of the show, is hearing other people going through these problems and knowing you're not alone.
It's a long email because women love a long email.
Well, are you ready?
Tell me the tweet, bitch. Tell me.
Let's do it. Are you ready to do some emails?
I'm ready.
Awesome. We're very excited to have you, Danielle. At Danielle Monet on Instagram. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Corona romance gone cold. JTrain, a million feathers for the King of Haas. I recommend your quarantine content to everyone I know and always do my best to tag a bitch. Recently, had a Corona romance going that lasted about a month. It's so crazy that now you could have been seeing someone a month, and I put in quotes seeing, through the coronavirus, through quarantine, and never have hung out in person.
Because when are we? We're about like a month or just crossed a month, right?
We're getting over that. Some people have been 6 weeks. It depends, but I'm just saying, like, some people could have been dating someone for a long time and never have even touched their hand.
Yeah.
We were texting every day, phone and video chatted, felt a serious vibe going, and then as of this past week, he's fallen off. I guess I wouldn't consider it a quote-unquote ghost because he did respond to my last text when I reached out to check in. But I feel like in general, it's gone from 100 to 0, and I can't help feel sad that it ended or at least cooled off significantly. Do I call this out or just accept it is what it is and move on? Appreciate all that you do. What do you think?
I always listen to you because I heard you say this sometime last summer, and it sticks with me because I tend to do it and I tend to let the guy drive it for me, is that if you start off really hot and heavy, it screws you. And you always say that because it's like you have nowhere to go, you go downhill, and you're doing all this at the beginning. So for me, like, I get so excited when I start vibing with someone and it's good. And then if it kind of cools off, I'm like, oh, something must be happening. What's going on? Why didn't he write me? When really all actuality is we're probably going to be inside for another month.
Yeah.
So what more do you want? Also, I'm at this place too where it's like, am I even wasting my time? Because when you meet someone in person, it's like then you could have so much great chemistry. I mean, I guess a phone chat is different.
I think what she's bringing up is a very real problem, and what you're saying is true as well. It's like I think the problem. I think this quarantine dating setup is one where for men especially, there's no chance at casual. Yeah. It is, they've never touched hands, and they're calling every day, video chatting, felt a serious vibe going, and then he falls off because he's like, fuck, and when we get out of this, I am in a relationship, whether I like it or not. And it's like, she might say, well, I didn't ask for that, but it doesn't matter. You don't have to ask for it. When you reach the end of the street, you got to make a right or left. You can't just go backwards. So he is trying, and I would say to her, I empathize with his position, because it's like, where's he, it either is, it gets to I love you land or it doesn't. Right. And it's like I'm sure his only option is thinking, man, I'm on the phone with this girl every day. I'm also still swiping. I'm still Tindering. I'm still, bumbling or hinging or whatever it is.
Men are probably just bored in quarantine, where women are developing feelings. Men are like, oh, I'm just bored.
I'm just talking it out. I'm just having a phone call. And I would say to her, I don't know if you call it out. I don't think you just, I think there's somewhere in between calling out and accepting it. I think you can say to him, hey, where'd you go? And not be, I think like sometimes the mistake is to get personally offended.
Yeah.
Like if he like, because at this point he backed off because in his mind he's like, what I would think in his mind he's going, I don't want to get so far ahead that I can't even get out of this quarantine, maybe have sex, maybe fool around, and then make a decision.
Right.
A lot of people are out there wanting to make the decision to have sex. You know, like she might be like, hey, when we get out, we're basically together, and we, you know, if we have sex like that, now we have to have like a breakup. Like, and that's like a kind of what he's avoiding. He's avoiding losing out on that. So I would say,
yeah,
what she needs to do is like, be like, hey, where you been? Kind of like make them at ease. Like, yeah, we're just hanging out. I'm happy. Maybe back off on the phone calls. And when this ends, I think that's a door that could be opened again, but at least it starts from a little bit of a casual place where you both don't feel like that first date is the 20th date. Do you know what I mean?
And also like last week, so your writers probably write in like last week, she probably wrote this, or the past couple of days. In the past couple of days, a lot of people have been extending when their stay-at-home order is, like in North Carolina or in New York. So it's like, he might have been like, okay, still the end of the month, still May 8th. And now maybe she should look at that too. Like if it got extended, he's like, all right, we need to really slow down because I feel like she wants me to meet her parents. I think a lot of times what women do wrong is they don't ask themselves, what do I want? Like they're not,
absolutely.
They're not like, oh, well, he's kind of pulled back a little bit. What's wrong? Well, do you like how that's making you feel? Do you want someone who's not going to pull back? If you want someone that's not going to pull back, then pull your ass back too, because you're not okay with that as well.
Are you being active on dating apps? Are you meeting guys? Yeah.
No, because of course, like I'm on Raya, and it's just like horrible. Like
for the listeners at home, Raya's the famous one.
Yeah, and like everyone thinks they're great and fun, or like fine or whatever. And so I just feel like I've gotten on Hinge once, and I met someone. I only stayed on like 2 weeks, and everyone was like, it wasn't my vibe, and like people were so trusting, like, let me have your phone number, and I was like, I don't know, like, and I don't know how things work, and it's just unnatural for me. I was in a relationship for almost 7 years, and when we got, like, there were no dating apps before it, so when I got out, and I'm like, oh, how does this work? So the whole guy on Hinge, like, it didn't go well, and I actually used Jared verbatim, his words from the J Train podcast in, like, I guess our breakup conversation, or he didn't think it was going to be a breakup conversation, but I realized what he's telling me was a hell no, you don't want to be responsible for my feelings, which is a J Train-ism. And so, like, I'm not now, but then all my friends are telling me, like, it's quarantine, you should get on them, but I'm way more comfortable with, like, Instagram if someone wants to slide in my Instagram.
Okay, the word is out there, Shelby. So I think that makes a lot of sense for this emailer, where you're saying, like, this guy isn't sure if he wants to be responsible for you in an outside of quarantine world.
Right.
So a lot of these guys that you're meeting are backing off after it's getting hot and heavy, because they're like, there's nowhere else to go. I don't even know what they smell like. So I think for her,
it's realistic, which is okay.
Which is okay.
I think she should not freak out. I think she should play it cool, which I'm not a fan of usually. If you should, the cool girl gets you nowhere. You should speak your feelings. But unless he's like really hurt you or said something nasty, you shouldn't really. I think you should play it cool, and you should keep this roster full of guys.
Yeah.
End of quarantine, you're going to have your little black book, and you're going to say, hey, where you been? Let's grab it real casual and see.
That's the move. Because I think it's even, I would even add on to that. I agree completely. Like, this is totally a cool guy to, like, reach out to in the future.
Yeah.
I think you even go to him, hey, I've had a blast talking with you. I've gotten enough to know that I would love to get a drink when this all ends. But I just want to let you know, like, I'm not disappearing. I'm here, but we don't have to talk every day. Let's figure this out when this thing breaks out.
Yeah. Honesty, that's so hard to say.
That's hard to say.
I mean,
but if I had
girls don't say that. So if you said that to a guy, he'd be like, Oh, okay.
I would be relieved. I would be like, okay, now I'm not like, like, oh, I got to check in with this chick I've never met. Like, you do get to the point on these dating apps where you're like, oh, I haven't heard, like, if you come at this guy, if a girl came at me who I've like only texted with for a month and was all of a sudden like, hey, this conversation can only go so far. Like, I enjoy talking to you, but I'm pretty sure I want to go on a date with you when this rings out. Let me know. I would be like, oh, whew, wow, this is kind of like someone who gets it.
Yeah, that's good. And it's good to be like, I want to go on a date or I want to get a drink, to be direct. So he's not like, oh, what do you want to do? Oh,
yeah. Hey, I'd love to do a drink when this is done.
Yeah.
JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Here with Danielle Monet at Danielle Monet. You would rather meet someone over Instagram?
I'm more comfortable with that than a dating app, but I'm not opposed. I hate when people's opening on dating apps, girls, they say something and girls are like, I'm not into this whole dating app thing. Or like, oh, I don't know. Like,
then don't be on it.
Yeah. And so I hate to say that, like, 2020 was going to be, this is funny. I was telling my grandma this last night. I was like, 2020 was going to be my dating year. I was like, okay, I'm going to put myself out there. I'm really going to give time to it. I'm not going to be as busy. I'm going to maybe go on the date with the guy that I'm probably not my type, but my type's not working out for me. So let's try
Give it a shot.
And then, motherfuck, 2.5 months in.
And then 2020 was like, get the fuck home, bitch.
Oh my gosh. Ain't no one get married this year. Ain't no one having a baby. So it's like, by the time.
What happened in the 7-year relationship? What?
We were together. It was broken up. So it was like 3.5. God, maybe 3 years, and then broken up 1.5 years, but we still would like emotionally support each other and talk, and then broke up 2.5. And I just needed more, and I would tell him I needed more. I never felt like in the beginning he was really good, and then he had to move to China. And when he moved to China, even then, I'm all about long distance. I was working with WWE, and
we'll figure it out.
And I think I buried myself in my career too when things got really bad because I didn't want to know what was going on. So
you don't want to deal with it.
Yeah. And then when we got back together, he was super jaded, super heartbroken for me. And getting back together with an ex, I don't know if I'd ever.
It's tough. You have to really be able to be confident in who you are and confident that the person. Yeah. It's tough.
He was trying to be like super controlling of me because he didn't want to get hurt, or he never wanted to fully let me in. And, I still was like kind of young. It was like late 20s. And to be fair, if I didn't have WWE and if I wasn't working on the road 300 days a year, it probably would have ended a lot quicker than it was. But
sure,
I was comfortable, and he knew me before fame and stuff. So I really liked that.
Well, that's also like part of the comforting thing where you said like on a dating app, someone's like, give me your number, and they're comfortable too quick. I would assume that you, with such a big following, you're not sure, like, oh, are they just not saying that they know me, but they know me?
Oh, that's a whole other thing, too. And it's like, people ask me all the time on my Q&As, like, would you date someone not famous or not in entertainment? And, like, I'd rather that. Like, I want someone that, has the same interests in me, like, likes to go to the gym and has a healthy lifestyle and, like, is out.
But then it becomes, like, I would assume that the bullseye becomes smaller, because then you're like, yeah, I would love someone that's outside of that's not famous, but then you're like, but they also have to be cool with being around someone who has a following and someone who puts themselves out there.
Yeah, like you definitely have to be confident or comfortable with like me, or like me having eyes, or me being recognized in public and stuff like that. Like, I'm not one, I hate it. Like when people recognize me, if they're like, you look familiar, I'm like, oh, I just have one of those faces. And like, I'm so outgoing, but like my armpits get sweaty and I get anxiety. Like, I gotta go. But like, you have to be confident, because a lot of guys will belittle me, and a lot of guys will play the whole game where it's like they try to seem smarter than me, or like make me feel dumb, to make themselves.
Well, because they know that you're a beautiful woman, and they know that they don't have the confidence to just let it be them or not.
Yeah,
and I think
have confidence, and we're not in a competition. Like, I just want to do life next to someone, not in front, not behind. I just want to do life together, and I'm just a normal person. So I'd rather you not know who I am, because I think maybe I'm intimidated, or like people assume who they they think I know.
Well, also you want, like, I think the nice thing is, like, I know with my girlfriend, like, listen, I don't have the a huge following, but like when someone says like, hey, I love your stuff, love the podcast. Like, I know, and I'm with her, she'll like roll her eyes at me and I'll make fun of it and whatever. Yeah. But it is nice that like she's excited for that experience with me. Yeah. Like, like you don't want someone who's going to like look at that and go, oh, another person coming up to you. It's like, no. Like she's as pumped as I am that people enjoy it, Yeah.
You have to like, it was weird. Even last year, like my friends tried to set me up with like a real estate agent. And they were like, oh, he's cool. He's a little younger. So I like wasn't really sold on it, but I was like, sure, I'll give it a try. And we had a great date. Everything was fine. I was totally into him. He called me like a celebrity twice, I think. But then I heard myself and I was like, okay, you cannot, some people can't read minds. So like, unless you tell them, don't. So I was like, hey, I just consider myself a normal person here eating with you tonight. We had a great night, kissed him at the end of the night, came in. He texted me, let's go out again. We never had the text exchange. Like it just never went anywhere. A month later, my friends were like, so whatever happened? And he was like, oh, I just can't imagine the guys that ask her out, and the guys that have money, and like, I'm not established. And for men have to be established with that career and everything.
That's very true. They have to be established, but also that's interesting because you never know what's going on across the table. Like, you don't know their insecurities. So, like, just like we're talking about with that last email where the girl's like, hey, like, it was so hot and then it got cold. Like, you don't know if he's insecure about what his job is going to be after this, or if he has the ability to date after this, or if he's ready to be that he's ready to be in the date 20 range with you that he never expected to be. It's tough. We are sponsor people. The J-Train podcast is brought to you by Noom. Getting in shape isn't just about losing weight. It's about learning healthier habits and feeling better about yourself. Maybe it's getting into your goal genes, having more stamina, or just treating yourself better. What if you could use one app for all that? No more hunting for training apps, workouts, or calorie trackers. There is a new app called Noom. Noom that will help you develop a healthy lifestyle for years to come. I love what Noom is doing. Because I have the app, it pings you. It's just a subtle reminder. And nowadays, when you're at home a lot and the hours go on and it's just like a whole day of looking at the fridge and should I eat? Should I not eat? Should I eat? Should I not eat? Their whole thing is about learning, not dieting. They want you to build better habits. So the more you know, people, the more you know about the things you're putting in your body, the better you will be at not putting in the wrong things in your body. On the Noom app, you can get tailored lessons, log food you eat, and learn a new lifestyle. Noom helps you change your habits, develop a new relationship with food. It's based in psychology. The way you think about food is important. Learn through personalized courses how you can replace your old habits with healthier ones. No food is good or bad. Noom teaches you moderation. At Noom, small steps lead to big progress. Sign up for your trial today at Noom, Noom.com/JTrain. That's Noom.com/JTrain. What do you have to lose? Visit Noom.com/JTrain to start your trial today. Again, that's Noom.com/JTrain and start losing weight for good. Let's do another email. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Playing hard to get in the time of Corona.
Now is not the time to play hard to get.
I've been a fan since the TFM days. I'll see you at your show in Raleigh, North Carolina this fall. Can't wait to see you live. That's why I'm going to be doing shows there this fall.
Oh my God.
I'd love your insight and wisdom on my current situation. There's a guy I've known for a couple of years now. We went on a few dates in 2018. There may have been a makeout session or two in there, but nothing more. I didn't feel a romantic spark at the time, so it kind of fizzled out. But we work in the same field, so we would very occasionally text about work. And a few times he invited me to parties at his place, but I never ended up going. Fast forward to the present. Both he and I have had relationships in the interim, but we are both now single. We've started to Snapchat a bit, and last night we were texting and things got pretty flirty. I feel like I've begun to see him in a new way, and I'm definitely interested in being more than friends. My question are, 1, during quarantine, how do I signal that I'm interested? I think she already did, no?
Yeah, if they're Snapchatting.
If you're letting... Okay, and it's the tough part for her, and I'm sure this is where I kind of get where she's coming from. Like, they're texting, but how do you say, like, you can't be like, hey, let's do a drink tomorrow to let, like, that's the real signal.
Yeah, it's like bored being nice and being high during quarantine. Like, how's your quarantine going? Or I'm interested. That is hard.
It's hard. There's no in between. And then she writes, 2, I don't want to just throw myself on this guy, and I'd like to play a little hard to get. Is that even possible during these times? Thanks for your infinite wisdom and advice. So what do you think? Is it possible to play?
I love that situation because I think coming back to something, like, you already know him, you already have a rapport. I think timing is everything, especially for men. Timing is so much. And women, we tend to forget about people, and men, it's like, oh yeah, I wonder, like, I wasn't ready for her then, I'm ready for her now.
Sure.
So I don't think he's necessarily thinking like that. Like, I think to keep everything simple with guys, I think maybe he saw your Instagram post, he thought your Instagram story was hot, a Snapchat, something. And then he was like, I'll check in with her. See if, what do you say? See if my penis still likes it.
See if the penis is still down. I am with you. I think there's a few things in this email that I want to pull out.
Yeah.
She says they went on a few dates in 2018. There may have been a makeout session or 2 in there, but nothing more. I didn't feel a romantic spark at the time, so it fizzled out. So with these things that come, so right now, what's going on a lot of guys are going through the Rolodex of people that were attracted to enough to them at a certain time.
Right.
He's not going to a dating app and finding a new chick. He's going back to someone who said yes to making out with him. So you don't know if this is just a boredom thing or a Snapchat thing. I think when you let something fizzle out because you're not into it, a lot of guys take advantage of that. They'll go, all right, well, she already dumped me once before, but maybe she would just hook up.
Yeah. Oh, so they're all coming out of the woodwork. Like, it is great, especially.
Are you getting a lot?
Yes, and you just have to be like, I'm the type of person that it's like, when we're done, I am done. Like, there's maybe like a 2 to 6 week. I'm not even like sexually attracted to you at all. Like,
that's it. Well. That's the thing this guy's playing off of. He goes, a lot of guys know that when you come back and do that, because they were flirty over Snapchat and text. So now he knows, okay, she's back to being flirty again. She went on the date before. She doesn't see me as a serious person. In his mind, keep it simple, just like you said. Yeah. This is someone who's down to be casual. Yeah. It doesn't sound like that's what she wants. If I'm reading her email correctly, she's saying, how do I signal that I'm interested and I don't want to just throw myself out to the guy? How do I play hard to get?
Yeah. So if she wanted casual, she'd be throwing it out there.
She'd be throwing it out there. Also, she is living in a world where he's just being the same as her. He is not being the same as her.
No.
She thinks, oh, I got to play hard to get. I won't answer his snap. That's not how you play hard to get. The way you play hard to get is to let him know, hey, I think she needs to be upfront. You got to go, hey, I actually would love to get a drink again. I know we didn't work out the first time, but this has been a lot of fun talking with you. You have to let him know, I like what's happening here. I don't want to do just this. I want to go here.
And then see how he reacts. Because
and then he either makes a plan.
Correct. If he backs off a little, or if he just starts sending fire emojis to your Instagram picture, then we know.
Then we know.
Like, yeah, sure, love to have a drink. But then 2-part, you got to see who actually comes through. And
then he's got to make that drink. But I think when you play, she thinks playing hard to get is like, no, I won't send you my tit over Snapchat. No. Just having that conversation is enough for him. Right. Hard to get is saying, hey, in a month, I am down to get a drink with you. Yeah. I'm down, but I'm only down for drinks. I'm not down for this like pen pal, Snapchat, a picture of my elbow and, let you know that I'm naked other than the elbow move. Like that is easy to get. And you don't always
have to like be so serious about it. Like you can say it as a joke. Like we're in a freaking pandemic. Like shit is wild. So you can be like, hey, if you and I actually make it out of here by the grace of God, maybe we meet for that drink to celebrate our freedom, or like something where it's like fun and you're still the cool girl, but like, bitch, I ain't sending you nudes at 2 a.m.
The trick is to not let this trail over months. The trick is to let them know what you want, let them know when it's going to happen, and give them all the tools to build the house. And he either builds it or he doesn't. We are sponsor people. Quip. The J Train podcast is brought to you by Quip. Here's what I love about Quip. They are teaching you a better routine for every day. You think you brush right? Quip's going to teach you differently. You think you brush for 2 minutes? You think you change your brush on a regular basis? Quip keeps you honest. They have that 30-second buzzer so that you know how long you're brushing your teeth for. It'll turn off at 2 minutes. Also, they'll send you refill packs when you're supposed to get them, dentist recommended. So Quip is here to help you build good habits. So what's a good habit? That means brushing for 2 minutes twice a day, flossing regularly. Quip makes it easy by delivering all the oral care essentials you need to brush and floss better. Quip also has an eco-friendly refillable floss with a dispenser to keep for life, an expanding string that helps clean in between. Quip brush head, toothpaste, and floss refills are automatically delivered on a dentist recommended schedule every 3 months for just $5 each. A friendly reminder when it's time to refresh and to stay committed to your oral health, and shipping is free. Join the over 3 million happy customers and practice good oral care easily and affordably with Quip starting at $25. And if you go to getquip.com/JTrain, that's getquip.com/JTrain, right now you'll get your first refill free. That's your first refill free at getquip.com/JTrain. Spelled GETQUIP.com/JTrain. Quip, the good habits company. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. You want a long one?
Yeah, let's do it. I love a long one.
Okay, Danielle Monet @Danielle Monet. Jared, it's called Bumble Browsing While I Was Quarantine Visiting. Quarantine Visiting. We really have a lot.
We're really going to have a lot of words.
Long time listener to the podcast.
Bumble scares me.
Well, the problem with Bumble is like marketed as this like feminism dating app, but it made it easier for guys. Like guys want less options. As much as we don't say it, we want to know who wants us more than everyone else.
Yeah.
And it's like a Bumble, at least on Tinder, if you matched, he either made a move or he didn't.
Yeah.
Bumble, you get a match, and then if you get 4 girls that match, one of them's like, ooh me. You're like, okay, at least I know you want where to zone in.
First. Like, I'm pretty ballsy, and like if I see a cute guy, I'll talk to him maybe, or like I'll go up to him, or I'll reopen a conversation, but I am not writing someone first, especially on a dating app. No way.
Let's see what happens. Thank you so much for giving me the daily guys POV, especially in these weird COVID dating times. I'll get right to it. I matched with a guy on Bumble when quarantine first hit in March. After texting every day, FaceTiming, and calling 1 to 2 times a week, every week for hours, we mutually decided that I would go to his place to hang out since we both lived alone. Have been doing quarantine alone since this all began and have shown no symptoms. I love the self-diagnosis all these people are doing. I don't know if this matters, but we did meet 6 feet away a few weeks ago when I delivered some coffee to his workplace, so we already kind of knew what we looked like in person. That's very nice.
Yeah.
Fast forward to last night. Truthfully, I thought we had a great time snuggling, drinking, eating, laughing, and watching scary movies. It felt like our FaceTime dates, but elevated, because we could actually touch each other. Oh, thank you. She's like, but Ella, we know why. At one point, I went to the bathroom, and when I came back, I suggested we should order a pizza. When he got on his phone to order, I saw that he had been on Bumble while I was in the bathroom. He didn't scramble to hide or anything, and the night continued on, even though I thought it was a little strange. He didn't use his phone that night except to show me some videos of his family, so he wasn't texting other people. I ended up staying over because I got drunk, and while we were cuddling in bed, no sex, I brought up his Bumble swiping in a joking manner. At first, he tried to say that he had received a message from a girl, but then shortly after that said, at this point, it's just a habit to go on. It's pretty mindless. I didn't want to think too much into it, so I negged him a bit. We laughed it off, and that left it at that. However, now that it's the next morning and I'm home, I can't help but feel disrespected that I was at his apartment, literally with him, and yet he couldn't help himself from still seeing what else was out there. My question is, should I confront him about feeling disrespected or should I just brush it off? I am aware that we aren't exclusive and that we are talking to other people throughout this time. I'm also dating others, but I'm annoyed that he couldn't just put a pause on the Bumble browsing while I was there at least. I like this guy. Wouldn't have left the house otherwise. So it kind of makes me feel like I'm not very special and that our tenuous connection we formed really isn't anything to him. Is this just a sign I'm missing that he isn't into me or not looking for anything more with me? Any advice is appreciated. What do you think?
Well, first of all, kudos to her for bringing it up. I mean, that's ballsy. That is knowing what she wants and not being afraid to speak up. That's her setting boundaries and being like, I ain't that bitch because I my mind. I'm so not that person. I'm trying to be more having a conversation of defining the relationship instead of being like, well, are you sleeping with others? We should use condoms. Being like, no, my feelings would be hurt. So like, I'm trying to be more of that person. So that's awesome for her. I think it's two things. I think he either, maybe I've just dealt with every fuckboy of the world, but he either intentionally did this to show, to kind of like let you see, but not to let you know, hey, this is what's happening. This is casual. I love you came over. I'm horny. Like, I also enjoy your attention, but it is what it is. Or, but like, not to hurt her feelings, but just to be like, hey, or how guys like,
I'm still out there. It's a little bit of a stiff arm, what you're saying.
Yeah, or like guys like pictures of girls in front of you where they could wait till afterwards, but also it could be mindless. And I think sometimes when guys are single for so long and they're not used to having someone with them or like liking a girl or whatever, it's almost like they forget how to even be in something. Like they're just people.
I will take his side on the mindless thing. I have done what he did to her. Yeah. So I
recently too.
Have you done it?
Like, I don't even like Raya, but I think I've opened Raya at a boy's house. Yeah.
Well, the reality is I call it the phone dance. Yeah. You do the phone dance every time you go on the phone. You go Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, email. Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, email. Sometimes I'll open it up 3 times in a row, and I'll have to go, what the fuck am I doing? Yeah. I just opened up Instagram. So
and also to her point too, like it's a weird time. So like, however you're feeling, you're entitled to that feeling. It's 100%, nothing's wrong with how you're feeling. It's valid. But I also think too, it's just a weird time where like you are that girl. He has set boundary. He set foundation with you. He's talking to you. He's inviting you over. What's a girl that he matches with on Bumble that he has to start again over with? He don't have your feelings. Like, you got to realize you're that bitch. Like, he has you over there.
I'm on your side with that. I'm happy you're putting it that way because it's hard for me to say sometimes where it's like guys, when you say like guys are simple, we're stupid. And I'm not saying what he did wasn't wrong or disrespectful, but what I'm saying is he wasn't having you at the front of mind. You guys don't live together. Like if I pulled out like I'm used to, I just moved in with my girlfriend a couple weeks ago. Like I'm used to a very specific, now we're getting used to molding our lives together. We're getting used to like, oh, when do you use the bathroom? When do I use the bathroom? That I just know how to live around. I'm learning every day how to live around her, and she's learning the same about how to live around me. Also, how to live around each other's emotions, when we're mad, when we're happy, when to walk away. This guy, you're walking into his home during a quarantine where he spent 99% of his time. On his phone. He's in this mode where it's like phone out, a dating app open. That's what he's in the mode of. That is not to say he's not having a great time with you, but if you wanted to, if this woman wanted to be like, hey, it really fucking hurt my feelings to see that dating app open. I understand we're dating other people, but some illusion would be fucking nice. That's a good way of saying it, but also going, but I'm having a good time with you. Yeah. But I am enjoying getting to know you. And I think like, especially when the ease of getting to know someone exists while also the ease of getting to meet new people exists, like on the same phone, you're going to run into each other. So you're going to have to be okay with that at a certain point. every guy you meet isn't going to be like swiping in front of your face by accident, but every guy you meet is going to be swiping while dating you.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
If this is a good combination.
Right now, I mean,
absolutely.
Every good girl, as you should be. Like any of my friends that are developing feelings for guys or this and that, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I hate to even say that you have to protect yourself, but like, we don't know when we're getting out of here. You could get out of here, have given 2.5 months to one guy, and it just fall flat. And you're like, oh, it's kind of a dud. Damn, like I should have been talking to other people. I should have been doing this. So it's almost like we should treat the pandemic like a breakup. Like I breakup, and we're just meeting new people and helping each other get through our days. Because it's just weird.
I do disagree with you on one thing where I think it's a very low confidence move to go to be swiping to show someone that you're swiping. I'm not saying it's out of like, I wouldn't do that to like someone I liked.
I just hang out with assholes. It's okay.
Well, it's not to say you're hanging out with assholes, but I think like this is like, I don't think this is like a deal breaker move. Like if you see the dating app, like you're still dating, he's still dating, that's totally understood. I think this is something to put on the list of things. Listen, if the next date he's liking girls on Instagram and going, look at this hot chick, yeah, then I would be like, oh, maybe he is a low confidence dude who does this shit.
Yeah.
But if the next date he's a good soldier, that means he cared enough about meeting you to change a habit that upset you. So I think that is something to like look out for, but also like make it known. I think it's okay to be like, hey, I still feel like shit, but I'm excited to meet you. I'm excited to hang out with you again. But just know, like, let's have a little illusion.
Yeah, I think when you first meet someone, you're meeting their lawyer. You're meeting the representation of themselves that they're wanting the public to perceive, you to perceive. Sure. You don't let everyone, you don't like burp and like you wear deodorant. There's certain things you don't talk about your exes. You don't talk about your crazy moms, certain things. So as you get to know the person, you become yourself in a way, and it's like you start to form your case. There are things you take and you back pocket. If it was me, I'd take this. I go, okay, Bumble, cool, back pocket. Then I see if he does it again. Then I see, oh, are tons of girls following him and he follows them back? Or do girls follow him and he doesn't care? Like, I just back pocket a lot of things to then make my judgment on someone.
Absolutely.
And then I realize, and then if I do have a problem with it and it is eating me up alive, I then bring it up. I think every time that you have a problem with someone, it's a reflection with you as well. There's something that is an insecurity with you, or there's something that you don't like in that situation. When I was recently, like back in January, had feelings for the guy I was dating, and we met on a dating app. I was still on the dating app, but I was getting to that point where I'm like, oh, I wonder, it's been so long since I wanted to be exclusive with someone. I haven't been exclusive in like 3 years with someone. So I was like, oh, I wonder if he's still on the dating apps, and I wonder if he's not. And I was like, okay, it's too early to say it, which there's no too early or too not.
Yeah.
And then once I saw like a certain, like this really, really hot girl commenting on his pictures and all this stuff, I was like, man, it started to make me not feel good. But then I was thinking about it, I'm like, I'm the one he's hanging out with. I'm the one he's on what I just said to you. Sure. I should be happy about it, but that's because that was my own insecurity. My insecurity of being like, am I good enough for him? Does he want to claim me? Does he want to put the title on me? When really, I'm that bitch, I just forget sometimes. So
yeah, and also you can say to him, hey, I think a lot of women like live in this world where like it's either crazy or not crazy. Yeah. Like if you said to him, hey, there's a girl that keeps commenting on your thing. Who is it? Like, who's that girl that keeps commenting? She's hot. It's kind of annoying me. Yeah. He would either go, oh, I don't know. Or he'll go, yeah, that's a girl that like we're friends and I don't really know. And he'd have an explanation. And you would immediately feel better or worse. And I think like a lot of times we don't ask the questions because we don't want to. We're just afraid of the worse.
Right.
We don't even.
If that's enough to scare someone away, then go. Bye. Gotta go. Yeah. You know. So like I did end up asking him, and he was like, it was like totally fine and cool with it. But in my head, I was like, I'm not really ready to be exclusive. I just don't want him on dating apps going out with other girls. So really, at the end of the day, it was something to deal with me. So, you know, if she sees this and it upset her, that's fine. But like, she should also like look at herself and be like, okay, what is it about me? Like, why, do I want to be exclusive with him, or is it just the quarantine? Do I want another guy? Do I not? Am I bored? It's hard to tell those things right now. Everything's so
right now, it's so hard to tell. This is like, right now, there's a lot of things we're doing. Like, do I even like this, or is this the life that I've put together to get through this moment?
Oh, yeah. The wheels are off. Like, this is a pandemic. Anything goes. There are guys that I would never, ever, ever go on one date with because I know better. And now I'm like, are you guys quarantined? Has it been 14 days? Because I'm going to come make pancakes with y'all. I'm like, shut up. Because
Shelby, get in the DMs, Shelby.
It's just crazy. Like, really, there's no rules. Like, whatever gets you through these 2 months where you don't have to, like, take Xanax, do it.
We are sponsored, people. The J-Train podcast is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. During this time of change, we want you to know that ZipRecruiter's focus hasn't changed. They're still doing what they've always done, helping people find work and helping businesses find the right people for their open roles. If you're looking for a job, ZipRecruiter is working with you to find the right job faster. They are dedicated to helping you get hired. From caretaking to delivering food and goods to building medical facilities, supplying protective equipment, and so much more. In fact, ZipRecruiter's app will send you up-to-date job openings so you can be one of the first to apply. And if you're actively hiring, ZipRecruiter will invite candidates to apply to your most urgent roles, making it faster and easier to reach the people you need. By connecting people who need jobs and companies that need people, ZipRecruiter is working with all of us so we can keep moving forward. Let's work together. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/work together. That's ZipRecruiter.com/work together. JTrain Podcast at gmail.com. JTrain Podcast at gmail.com. Let's do one more. This has been fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on.
It's been great.
Everyone go follow Danielle at Danielle Monet. Go, 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 go right now. How to get a guy to help without nagging. Jared, love the podcast. I'm grateful you're doing the Listen to Your Heart thing on Insta. My fiance and I have been together for 2 years and recently moved in together. I want to know how to get him to pull his weight around the house without becoming a nag. I'm currently cooking, cleaning, and doing the remodeling. Oh, she does it all. Previously, when we'd stay in the same house for multiple days, he did help out a lot. I'm not sure what happened, but I'm not trying to be his mom. He'll do whatever I ask if I ask multiple times. I just don't want to do that. I created a this needs done list, and so far I'm the one accomplishing it. I'm working 2 days a week, and he's working from home 5 days, but honestly, he naps all day. When I'm home and he's napping, and I get so annoyed that I'm doing stuff that he's not, it's causing me to be lazy too. What do you think?
I mean, it just has to be a very blunt conversation. My ex and I, when we lived together, he's lazy in general. So it wasn't like really like, oh, before he cleaned up and he didn't. But he would leave towels everywhere. I'd slip and fall. The water. Yeah. He was so tall that like I feel like men don't know how to dry off in the shower. They just dry off like walking around the house. So eventually I just had to sit him down and was like, I am not your mom. I don't have time to do this. I want us to do it together. And I don't want to, you lose that sexual connection if you're nagging. So I understand what he's saying. And his resolution for it, which was great for me, was, all right, fine. How about I get a house cleaner once a week? And I was like,
there you go.
Okay. And the thing is, like, he didn't know it annoyed me. His mom cuts his steak for him when he's in his 20s with like,
who's this? You dated this guy?
Oh my gosh. That was like kind of a running joke, but he was 23 and his mom would cut a steak for him at one point. And so I never saw it happen again, but his mom did love like cooking and cleaning, and a lot of men's mothers coddle them.
I'm with you. I mean, I'm a son of a Jewish mom, so I have been coddled like crazy. I love what you said.
You can't your mind unless you speak it.
Well, you got to come out and say something.
And you already got the ring, honey. Like, be a bitch.
It's time to let it out. And I think the this needs to be done list is not enough. You might be thinking, well, it needs to be done. But here's the thing, guys, and I think I'll speak for myself. I'm the laziest. I bend at the waist, okay? I don't even bend at the knees. My girlfriend and I moved in together, and we had to move from her apartment downstairs, a studio, to the one bedroom that we're in right now.
Yeah.
So we had a whole day where movers were coming, and then, we were going to like do stuff. She wakes up early. She starts going. She's moving stuff. She's everything. And then like I get up, I'm making coffee. She's like, when are you going to start helping? I'm like, well, the movers are coming. Why would we're paying people to do this? She's like, well, you should do something. Like, I've been up since 8 o'clock. And it's like, here's where I don't respond. I don't respond to I've been up since 8 o'clock because that was your choice.
Yeah.
That was, so when she says, I'm working 2 days a week and he's working from home 5 days, but honestly, he naps all day. And when I'm home and he's napping, I get so annoyed that I'm doing stuff and he's not. It's causing me to be lazy too. Oh, I just want to do that. I created, so far, I'm the one accomplishing the I do the needs to done list. So first of all, this needs done list is the worst name for a list ever in this.
Yeah.
No one can read that. That's this needs done list. How about get it fucking done list? Okay, so enough.
How about get it done or else you're not getting sex list.
Yeah, you're not getting blown list. Yeah, change the name of the list.
That's another way too that could be fun during a pandemic. That's crazy. Like that you can make it. I'm the person that like when I'm in tears, I make a joke. So probably
sure.
So it's like, get a French maid outfit, order it offline, whoever sponsors this, come in, start cleaning with your butt out and everything. And
yeah.
Like, what the hell? And then be like, and get them all turned on and then say, we gotta talk. And
yeah, now
right
this is all about cleaning. We're going to have a conversation. I dressed in a theme outfit for this fight.
Which, if it was me, I probably wouldn't do this. But this is hilarious.
Well, I would say, though, when we were moving from downstairs to up here, there was a point in the day where my girlfriend was like, what are you doing? Why aren't you doing anything? I'm like, you need to stop living in an emotional world of jobs. I'm not going to ask. She's like, I'm not going to ask, I'm not going to come in with ideas. I'm not going to come in being like, ooh, we could take the stuff from the cleaning closet and we'll put it in this closet. I don't want to have ideas.
Yeah.
I'm a donkey. Yeah. I want stuff put on my back and I'll bring it up the mountain.
Right.
So for him, I think it might be the same thing where it's like, when we communicated about how I do jobs, I'm not motivated to do cleaning. I'm not motivated to fix up the house because I don't care what it looks like. Give me one task that has a beginning, middle, and end, and I will complete said task. So, and I said that to her, and she goes, you do closet.
Okay.
Make everything this closet, just like you said, men are stupid. Yeah. I am very much a caveman. She pointed the closet. She goes, all of this stuff in this closet to the upstairs closet. And I go, aye, Captain. Yeah. And I just did it. And I think that's the difference. Like, I think what she's saying.
Men do stuff way faster than women too, because that would take me forever. I try everything on. I fold it. You probably took the coat hangers, walked them upstairs. Like, it's great.
Yeah. And also the difference is I'm not looking to get creative with this.
Right.
She'll look at a corner and go, well, what can we put in that corner? And that's part of the cleaning process. To me, I'm like, are we moving something to the corner or not? And it's like, that's it. So I think it's all in how you ask and make it edible. Don't make it, here's the list, and I want you to be a part of the list. He obviously doesn't want to be a part of the list. He wants to be a part of getting shit done. So if you say to him, 7 things need to be done before Wednesday, I think you'll have a better time with this than we need to do these things, and it's just a emotional, vague hole.
For sure. And you never know what's going to come from a conversation, so you got to just talk about it.
JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Danielle Monet, thank you.
I have a question for you.
Please.
So I have this situation that I've been thinking about over and over in my head.
Okay.
And I want your opinion on it because I don't know if I am a bad person because I have these thoughts. So
okay, let's hear it.
Podcast in case anyone that I know is listening and they don't make it this far. Okay. So a guy that I was dating for like 2 months, and which is big for me. Like, and we were starting to think about, okay, are we going to be something or not? We ended up not being together. I think he just wasn't ready to be emotionally responsible, whatever it is. So he didn't want to be responsible for my feelings. And I'm glad I spoke up so I didn't waste any of my time. I'm 36. I'm busy. I don't have time for bullshit. So a girl that he previously dated in the fall. He dated her 2 months, maybe like a little less than 2 months. He had told me a story or two about her, about how things didn't work out. She freaked out, this and that. And he mentioned to me, she doesn't speak, he said like her nationality, and he was like, oh, but don't worry, she speaks English. And I was like, okay. Like he said it like twice to me, and I thought it was really weird. I was like, okay, whatever. Like, we're not trying to build a wall, whatever. So, and so he said that, and he was like, yeah, things just didn't work out. So after we weren't hanging out, one of my girlfriends had followed her on Instagram, and she sends me a video of her, something, I don't know, we're bored, we're in pandemic. So send me a video of her speaking. And first of all, she's stunning. She's really, really pretty. She's like a very Barbie, everything's bought, put together, which is fine if that's you. And then when she spoke and she opened her mouth, how do I put this nicely? It was not English. Like, it just was very, very choppy English. And she just sounded dumb, so dumb and so stupid. And it just, in that moment, and like I'll design her everything, it's just so different than what I am.
Sure. And
it is like, in that moment, I was like, did I even know who he was? Or did he just date me because I'm cute? Or like, because I look a certain way? Like, do you even care that I have 2 things through my head and I buy my own house and my own thing? So I judged him so hard, and I hate that I did that, because
I don't think that's what makes you a bad
judge people. But like, how can someone date someone like him and date someone like her and date someone like me?
I hear you. I think like,
and I feel bad for judging.
You shouldn't feel bad. I get it. You feel bad because you're like, you're kind of like using this person who you don't think highly of to judge him, to think less of him, which I understand. And I think we all do that. I think the big thing with that is, in the beginning of it, you said you ended it because he wasn't willing to take that next step.
Yeah.
That next step is, for men, getting past the sexual thing. That next step for him is being responsible for you in a practical way that's not romantic for him. It's being responsible for meeting your family and going home with you and taking the call when you're not feeling great, but he doesn't have the time. Like, all of those things are the next step of actually getting to know the thing between the ears. Yeah. Like, when I think that
like we had already done, and he was just living in this la la land. I think at the end of the day, he just probably wanted to keep dating around and like having.
But that's the thing. He could do that with you, and then go meet this girl and not do it with her. Yeah, because I'm like, there's no way they're having conversation. Like, and it's so surface level with her. I'm like, how did we even have 2.5 months? But I think guy or girl, man or woman, everyone, like, I think everyone bails because, oh my God, I have to get to know this person more. Or they bail because I've gotten to know this person enough. Like, he could have had those 2 months with broken English girl and been like, oh, I gotta find someone I can relate to on an intellectual level. Yeah. So, and then he goes to you and he goes, oh man, I just didn't want to be in a relationship. Yeah. You know, like I think it's so tough to compare yourself to the last one or the next one, because again, it's all it's all our own like deficiencies. Like, I never ended a relationship with a girl because she wasn't good enough for me or she wasn't someone, I didn't like. It was because I wasn't in the place to give more of myself, or I wasn't, confident enough in my career to like really even take the next step. Like, for me to like move in with my girlfriend now, like, this has been great and wonderful. And I do have a lot of thoughts of like, man, I was fooling myself thinking I could have been doing this at 26.
Yeah.
Like, maybe for some they could, but for me,
because women can be like broke, have a baby, live in a studio apartment, but as long as they're in love, they've got it. Like, men have to have everything in line.
I don't even know if that's male, female, or just like, I just know that that's a very like real thing to me.
Yeah.
I hear that. I'm like, love will not conquer all.
Yeah.
You know what conquers all? 6 to 8 months savings so I can get through a pandemic.
Yeah, for sure. That's my new goal, is not to get married, to have savings. That's my goal.
Right. Well, Danielle, this was so fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on.
Everyone go follow Danielle at Danielle Monet. I'm so pumped that you're a fan and you've been on the show. This was so cool.
Yes, it'll be great. I'll have to come by in New York when this is all said and done, so I can.
You'll come to a show. We'll make it happen. Everyone, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for telling a friend. We'll be back next episode. Boom.